Азовське море, води Азовського моря – це є внутрішні води обох країн – і Російської Федерації, і України.
So Ukraine and Russian boats can share all of the water?
Так,
They can go where they want.
і українські суда, і російські суда можуть використовувати ці води вільно.
What has changed here in the last year?
Збільшилась кількість військової присутності кораблів Російської Федерації, військових кораблів Російської Федерації в Азовському морі.
So this ship has just left Mariupol. It's heading towards the Kerch Strait and to the outside world. The problem over the last few months has been a journey that they could predictably say might take a day or so. Well now, because of the problems at the Kerch Strait, it could take a week possibly of waiting there before they get through into the Black Sea.
Задля блокади. Це є економічна блокада. Це для того, щоб, якщо вони не змогли в 2014 році взяти Маріуполь з військової сторони, то сьогодні вони вирішили робити економічну блокаду.
This is the main Ukrainian Coast Guard boat in the Azov Sea. It's really nothing special. In fact, it used to be a fishing boat and has been converted. There's room on board for 8 Coast Guards. They've mounted a machine gun on the back here. It can go about 10 miles an hour, 15 kilometers an hour, so not particularly quick. In short, it's not much of a match for the Russians.
Курсом 91, берегу 22 на прием.
На прийомі вельбот 109.
Все, понятно, спасибо за связь.
До связи. Ця ситуація могла призвести до зіткнення нашого корабля та їхнього катера.
It's almost like they're bullying you.
Мабуть, вони хотіли нас спугати. Ніхто їх не боїться.
Крыма второго не будет.
Oh, there won't be the scenario of Crimea? No? Okay, let's see.
Ситуація, яка склалася в Криму, такої більше не буде.
Well, this is a hugely dangerous incident in a very, very tense region. Russian and Ukrainian ships coming into direct confrontation, vessels being rammed, the Russians ultimately firing on the Ukrainian ships, we're told, wounding a number of sailors and impounding the vessels. Crimea, of course, was part of an independent Ukraine. The Russians took military steps to take it back. They've made it part of their own country. And of course the difficulty is that this Sea of Azov is an area of water which has around it basically 3 entities now. It has Crimea on one side, Russia on the other, and Ukraine to the north. Obviously the Ukrainians insist that Crimea remains their territory. But what it does mean is that the Russians stand on both sides of the entrance to the Sea of Azov. They opened an amazing looking modern bridge, really 2 bridges side by side there earlier this year. It's part of a strategic rivalry with Ukraine on the one hand saying it wants to step up its naval and coast guard activity in the Sea of Azov, The Russians obviously insisting that they want to counter that. Fundamentally, of course, they both blame the other. Really three things, I suppose. There could be calls for new economic sanctions against Russia, but there are a lot of sanctions against Russia that have already been imposed because of their annexation of Crimea. Have they changed Russia's behavior in any way? No, they haven't. There could be more practical support for Ukraine from NATO. NATO countries already do a large amount of training for the Ukrainian military. And of course, I suppose most controversially of all, there could be renewed calls to provide Ukraine with lethal weaponry. It's not a frozen conflict and that very little happens. It's a real conflict where people die. There are huge repercussions for many civilians who live in the combat area. It leaves all sorts of questions about Ukraine's future. It's possible the Russians could, well, I'm sure the Russians will try and interfere in the Ukrainian elections. Of course, from the Ukrainian side, there will be people who want to also step up the pressure. There will be many who want to calm things down, but there will be some who want to step up the pressure to try and get this conflict back in the headlines, to try and concentrate international focus upon it again, and to try and get renewed and added and reinforced support for the Ukrainian position.